Present.
Commissioner Dawson.
Present.
Commissioner Lucas is absent, and Mayor Rainey.
Present.
We have a quorum, Mayor.
Thank you. Hang on, I'll have to catch up with you. Commissioner Dawson, would you do our prayer and pledge, please?
Please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we want to thank you so much for bringing us together tonight to do your will, Father. We pray for all of those that were affected by the storms in Kentucky and Tennessee. And Father, please wrap your arms around them. Provide for them what you need, what they need. Father, help us to make good, sound decisions. Father, help us also praise you in this holiday season that's coming up. All of this we ask in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Approval of agenda? Do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Johnson?
Commissioner Dawson.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Rainey.
Aye.
Commissioner Butler.
Aye.
Mayor Rainey.
I'm so sorry. Did she call my name
She
twice?
did.
Did I?
Yeah.
You said
I
Vice Mayor Rainey.
apologize.
answer.
Did I not call someone then?
Me.
Oh, Vice Mayor Anderson, I apologize.
No, it's fine. I got confused.
I
too.
just heard my name and
Aye.
responded. So
Aye.
we're all good now.
Aye. Aye.
Item 5, public hearings, urban growth boundary. Mr. Collins, do you want to talk about that?
Yes, Mayor, members of the commission. As you know, for some time, we've been working with the county regarding our urban growth boundary. From time to time, the counties are required to go through this exercise where all the cities in the county examine their urban growth boundaries for future growth. This is of particular importance to municipalities that border each other, where some of their growth could infringe on each other, or at least their preferred areas of growth. Fairview's not in that situation, that we don't touch any other municipality within the county. However, we are required to go through this exercise and expand our urban growth boundary. The biggest area that we've talked about for our growth is the area that you see in the blue. I know it may be hard to see on screen or on camera, but the lighter colored areas, the yellow or the green, is what's currently the city limits. The yellow is the existing urban growth boundary, along with the pink area at the top of the page. What we're proposing is to remove the pink area from the city's urban growth boundary and grow to the south in the blue area near the interstate of 840 and Highway 100, and then in the Fernvale area. So again, not a lot for us to do. There's not a lot of change square mile wise, but there is a lot of change in the area of growth. We agree with the Water Authority of Dixon that the ability for us to provide future services and the need to anticipate a growth in the pink or red area at the top of the page just really doesn't fit us. We just don't have what we need to facilitate a growth area there. However, to the south in the blue areas, we certainly recognize that that's a growth potential for us. The Fernvale area is already seeing some growth. We understand that that's positive for us, certainly with those areas. And then at the 840 corridor around Highway 100, clearly that's a growth area for us at that intersection. So we look forward to seeing some growth at both of those places. The Water Authority of Dixon County has asserted to us that they do have water to serve both of the areas. We know there's some work to do with sewer. However, that is a part of their long-range plan, particularly at the 840 corridor. So that's what we've proposed. We look forward to seeing that done. I know this has been presented or at least discussed with Williamson County. They are favorable to it, and no other municipality in Williamson County is opposed to the growth map that you see before you.
Could I ask a question? I mean, we talked about, at the meeting this week, we discovered that there's water in Fernvale. already there. So, and I think the county mayor kind of indicated that we should think about including that area in our urban growth. So if we find out that is all true and works,
Right.
would we need to come back? I mean, what do we need to do if we decide to extend the urban growth that far?
I don't give you a real answer on that right now because I just don't have the information on the water.
And he had said he would send me an email, but I haven't gotten that yet, so.
Right. As it relates to water, even in that area, water really is not an issue for us. I think whether it be the new group that's providing it, I understand they're a private organization.
They're nonprofit.
Or nonprofit, so I'm not sure what their business model would be or their area of growth. Our primary concern is always sewer. So if we grew into an area or didn't grow into an area, the water would be important, but not as important to us as the ability to provide sewer. So I think either one would work. We could go back and revisit it certainly, but we do know for sure the areas in blue are areas that we can positively identify as a spot that we could identify for future growth. And I'll provide some information back to the board as soon as I can get any information on the other water system.
There's nothing we need to do on that tonight, right? This is just information?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Okay.
Now, once this is done, we'll go back in. We've had 2 public hearings on this. So the next thing that will be done will be for the BOC, not tonight, but we'll have this on an agenda for you to formally adopt the urban growth boundary, and then that will be presented to Williamson County as a part of what we have for our formal urban growth.
Any questions?
Mayor, I have one, and just to reiterate, this is where we're projecting growth. So this is not locking us in to a boundary or area. This is just where we're projecting.
That's correct. Williamson County is in a different spot in that your urban growth boundaries generally are pretty defined. Once a municipality in another county identifies its urban growth boundary, it's difficult to grow outside of that. Williamson County is in a little bit different situation in that lasso annexations are permissible. In fact, lasso annexation requests must be considered by the board. So even at the county level, when we've had the conversations, for our purposes, the urban growth boundary is somewhere where we've identified we know we want to grow. But if someone were to come to the city outside of the urban growth boundary, even if it wasn't contiguous to the city, it still would be allowable and permissible to annex that property if the city could provide services to that area.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, thank you, sir. Item 6, citizen comments. Ms. Johnson,
There are none tonight, Mayor.
thank you. 7, public announcements, city events. Mr. Ross, is that you?
Yes, ma'am. Just a reminder that the Holiday Wonders at Bowie Park is going on until January the 9th, Thursday through Sunday. And we are currently collecting donations in canned food items and everything like that for the tornado victims at Santa's Village. And those items will be turned over to the fire department. I believe it's December the 26th. Keith, can you go to the next slide, please? Can you go to the next one? This was the tree lighting event that happened on December the 4th. We had a really big turnout, multiple food vendors, petting zoo, multiple craft vendors as well. It was a great evening. The high school band came out, performed well, and several of the commissioners and mayor showed up. It was a great event. Keith, can you go to the next one? Last weekend, we had the Shop with a Cop program. The Fairview Police Department provided Christmas to a little over 30 children within the city. Each child received a certain amount, and it was just a great time for these kids to enjoy spending the entire day with the police department and the fire department. The fire department provided breakfast with Santa that morning. And just a reminder, this coming Saturday, the reverse parade will be located at Westwood Elementary, and it will start at 5 p.m. That's all I have.
Are the cans supposed to be pop-top cans? Are they requesting pop-top cans?
Yes, ma'am.
I have to share one of the funniest things that I heard, the cutest things that I heard the night of the tree lighting was Commissioner Butler's little girl. I was saying, can you all count backward from 5? And she said, I can count backward from 20. And I said, well, do it quietly until you get to 5, and then you can start counting. She was it was like she was so concerned about that. So it was fun. Item 8, staff comments, fire department. Is that going to be you?
Yes, Mayor, that will be me.
Okay.
I'll do my best firefighter impression, although as a former police officer, I'm not going to be very good at it.
Could you put on a fireman's hat and do this so we won't
I-
be confused
you
which
know,
one you're doing?
that's a tough one. We had calls for the month. We were at 94, 95 in 2020, so we're down 1 call. So really the same as far as the number of calls for the month. Not much changing for the year. The averages. We had 1 high month in September, but everything else has been relatively close except for April. On the next page of reports you have significant events. You could read those. We had a dwelling fire in the district, a structure fire on Cox Pike, and a tractor-trailer fire on I-40. We had 2 overlapping incidents and 2 automatic or mutual aid to surrounding fire departments outside the city. As you're aware, we're a mutual aid, a partner with Williamson County and the other municipalities in the county, and that's where that mutual aid comes in. Dispatch to arrival time this month, 5 minutes and 48 seconds. Average operating time on scene was 14 minutes and 28 seconds, and that's good for us. If we're only there for 14 minutes, that means that that it is a lighter event. It's not something that we had to spend a whole lot of time on, and that's good for everyone. So we hope that we don't receive any calls. If we do, that's the kind of call that we want to receive. Public education continues. There were 55 interactions at 5 events this month. And again, with the smoke detectors, if anyone needs one of those, we request that they call the fire department directly, 615-799-3473. And as we remind everyone every month, if there's an emergency call, please dial 911. It's recurring each month. We continue to get emergency calls at the regular landline number. That just delays the process for the caller. So just as a reminder, if you have an emergency where you need a first responder, call 911 and not the local number. The call breakdown, rescue and emergency were 70% of our calls. The other calls were broken down by a smaller percentage. Rescue and emergency continues to be the most of the calls that we get each month. The next page, you see the heat map, which continues to be the same. Obviously, the center in and around Fairview, the Highway 100 corridor continues to be the most of those, and then there's a gap as you go north or northeast or northwest out to the intersection of 40 and 96, again, the intersection for the truck stops and all out there. So no changes in the heat maps where the majority of service calls are, and you can break those down to either a center of traffic or a center of residence or high activity. Obviously, traffic on Highway 100 and the same out at 96 and 40. Next page, just photos of some of the projects and work that were done this year or this month. The bottom left, obviously, is the tractor-trailer fire on Highway 100, or the I-40. The photo to the right is the structure fire that we had. And the next page includes your training hours that we've had for the year, or for the month, 370 total. And then the next page is just some general information regarding activity from the fire department generally. So be glad to answer any questions that I can for you, but that's the fire department report.
Any questions?
So it looks like we've got 2 firefighters that are going to be out for military leave. How long are those firefighters going to be deployed?
I believe that's 9 months.
9 months, okay.
That's right. So we have forward filled that. They're out, and we have filled 1 position within the fire department. We had budgeted for 2022 or the 2023 budget year to add 1 position, so when they return to work, there will be no negative budgetary impact for that, but they will be out for at least 9 months.
Thank you.
Anything else? Police report, and I'm presuming that's you too?
It is, Mayor, there was no significant instance within the police department this month. I did speak to the chief. They did not get that information to us. We do have 2 new hires. As you may recall, we've been a little short in the police department just with some turnover. So this month, we did have 2 that were brought on, so we were almost back up to fully staffed. We also were able to get each of the new hires into the police academy that starts in January. We were concerned that we were going to be able to, or have to have them untrained for a longer period than that. However, everyone we have got in, so that's going to get us ahead of the training schedule by about 6 months from where we were. So we look forward to this summer being fully staffed with at least fully certified police officers and get them trained in. So it was a good month for us as police. On the city manager report, an email that I sent you earlier, all of the bond funds that we had from the bond issue were remitted to the city this past yesterday. So those funds are in the bank. The bond process is complete. The closing is closed. In January, we will start the capital projects list for that. We'll get that information out to the board with a proposed schedule for all of the bond projects that were included in that, so we can start seeing that work come together. So as much as we were excited to get the bond issue complete, now the real work starts. So it's good that we could get there, but we have that. Oh, I have a friend on the stink bug. Imagine that on me. So that's all I have for you tonight, Mayor.
Professional courtesy.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any questions?
I have one. So do most of the people who apply for the police department, do they need to go through the police academy? I'm just curious.
They do need to go through.
So does that mean they're new? They've never been a police officer before?
That's correct.
Okay. I was just curious. I didn't know if there were some that applied that already.
No, we have some who applied. We did have some certified officers who were hired, but the majority of who we had not been hired. So the kind of a nutshell version of how that works from the fire department standpoint, it's not uncommon for someone to put themselves through the fire academy and be hired with no experience, but having been through the academy, and then you train them on your own and get them there. The police department training is a little bit different than typically that academy training takes place after they're hired. Once they come in, you do that. They'll go through the academy, then they'll do an FTO or field training officer program before they're able to function on their own as a police officer.
So do we like to hire more that we can kind of train to fit Fairview, or am I understanding? I mean, I don't know how it all works.
We prefer to hire sworn police officers, but the reality is the market for sworn police officers right now is just unbearable, where the police department hiring process right now regionally is very cannibalistic, meaning that everyone's trying to hire everyone else's certified police officers. So it's rare that you're going to be able to go out. Fairview's pay is a good bit lower than everyone else regionally. We don't have the same pool of applicants just simply because of our geography. So with that, we work to hire those certified officers, but we are on the lower rung of the ability to do that. So as you're aware, we're working on a compensation plan that we'll have complete in February, that will be implemented in March. That we hope that will change some of that, but until we can do that, we're hiring qualified candidates, but not necessarily certified police officers.
But if a certified police officer applied, then would they come with already being certified? Would that be a positive that they're already certified?
Anytime you can hire a certified police officer, that's a benefit to you because you don't have to lose the training time, pay the training time, all of those things. But being certified in and of itself doesn't make necessarily someone that you would want to hire for a variety of reasons. So we work to do that, but we're just not in a position, like all other police departments in the region, to simply go out and get those people that you can put to work instantly.
So in the spring, you're looking at, the city's looking at higher pay and a better package to to be able to draw in more people who are experienced.
That's correct. And that pay plan will be included on the amended budget that you see in February. So as soon as we do that, we'll employ that. We've been lucky financially in that our plan was to be able to institute that on July 1, 2022, when the new budget year. But with some of the financials, they've been coming back to us a little bit. We've been able to accelerate that. So that compensation plan will actually go in place as we're here tonight at the first pay period in March, 4 months ahead of schedule, which is great for us, so we can start filling those positions and be a little more aggressive to do just what you're asking, to go out and then recruit those people to come to us, to come to work. We've lost during this hiring session, we lost one Metro police officer who applied to the city of Fairview. He lives close, but we just simply could not make the financials work for that position. So that would have been a nice hire for us. Great guy, great qualified employee, but we just couldn't make the math work. So we lost out on that position, which we would have loved to fill. The same thing with the firefighter. We had a firefighter who applied, went through the process, but we couldn't make the math work on that firefighter position, and we lost that position. So just in the last 60 days, we've lost one police officer candidate who would have been exceptional for us, and one firefighter candidate who would have been exceptional for us, and it was based solely on compensation. So we look to remedy that just as quickly as we can.
Anything else? Item 9, consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Johnson?
Vice Mayor Anderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Dawson,
Aye.
Commissioner Butler,
Aye.
Mayor Rainey.
Aye. Old business, there is none. New business, 11A, Resolution 38-21. Vice Mayor.
A resolution supporting the submission of an application for the Assistance to Firefighter Grant Program for funding from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, as well as support of the required matching funds from the City of Fairview.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Mr. Collins, can you tell us a little bit about what those funds would be used for in the fire department?
I can, Commissioner Dawson. These are specifically for SCBA, or self-contained breathing apparatus. That's the mask, air tank system that you see a firefighter wear. We are in the process of replacing those. We have 21 units to replace. We have 21 firefighters, 21 units to replace. They simply time out. They age out like any other piece of equipment that you have. We've discussed before to where when you see the turnout gear, the heavy gear that firefighters wear, that equipment has a date on it. It expires over a period of time for its fire protection. A bulletproof vest for a police officer expires. The Kevlar breaks down on that over a period of time. They all have expiration dates. The servicing of these masks and the equipment that they use also expire from that. So the grant that you have before you tonight would fund, it's a 95%, 5% match, meaning 95% will be federal dollars, 5% would be city. So if we're successful in this grant, we would receive $182,000 in grant money. Our match would be $8,660, I believe. That would fund us 18 of these units. If we're able to do that, then we would still at some point, likely in next year's budget, need to come up with approximately $40,000 to complete the replacement of the set. But it's simply the mask, the tanks, the connections that go onto the trucks and what they can carry off of the trucks.
So huge savings, 95%, 5% match. I mean, that's
Absolutely.
huge.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Even if, when we go back and spend the other, let's say we're at 50,000 by that time, we would be $55,000 of our money for $235,000 of equipment. So it's an absolute win for us. We look forward to applying and hopefully being successful.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Johnson?
Commissioner Dawson,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Anderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Butler,
Aye.
Mayor Rainey.
Aye. Item 12, communications from the mayor and commissioners. Commissioner Butler?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick share. I went to Lights and Wonders maybe 2 weekends ago. Pull up to the tent. There's a Fairview High Schooler checking me in. Pull up to traffic. It was Public Works directing traffic. I go in there. It's a local Santa. Our city planner's pouring hot chocolate. So I just want to say thank you to the staff for working so hard to making this happen, to providing the service in Fairview. I saw probably 8 different people I went to high school with. It gave me all feels Fairview. It was a very good experience. My kids loved it. So thank you for that staff for working so hard to make sure we have that out here for our people. And Merry Christmas. Thank you, guys.
Mr. Dawson?
Yeah, I wanted to just thank the fire department and the police department for the Shop with a Cop program. What a wonderful program to have here in the city of Fairview, and to provide for the children that are less fortunate. Just man, that's the city employees taking care of the citizens here in the city of Fairview, and it's just a great example. Also want to thank everyone that has contributed to Shop with Cop. Also wanted to say, firefighter graduates and firefighter Persinger, thank you for your service. Thank you for the commitment, the time commitment, and also thank you to their families to allow them to go off and to protect this great country. Hurry back. We certainly already miss you. And also for the prayers, please pray for the people in Kentucky and the people in Tennessee that were affected by those tornadoes. Please give as much as you can with the can drive and so forth. And Merry Christmas to everybody. This is the last meeting before Christmas. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you, Mayor.
Sir, Vice Mayor?
Thank you. I was just noticing on my calendar that this is actually the last meeting of BOC meeting of this year. And we've got a lot accomplished, all of us, the staff, the board, the community, everyone this year. Our next meeting will be in the new year. So, I look so forward to all the things we've got coming up, like, the playground and getting rebuilt. And, it's going to be a great year, 2022. I'm looking so forward to it. And I just wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a happy and safe New Year. And just, we just welcome everyone to come out and be a part of what's going on and let us know, how you feel about things so that we can be your voice. And as always, let's just keep our town beautiful and don't throw things out, trash out, and please pick up, because I know there's a lot of people who I've seen people out picking up this past week, and it was exciting to see people in the community doing that. So let's all just make an effort to do that together. And that's all. I'm just excited. I look forward to 2022. Thank you.
Thank you. I also want to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and hope that everyone is safe during the holidays. I'm also excited to hear we have a local Santa Claus. That was good news. And thank you to the staff. Y'all have done such a great job doing things that we can drive across the road and participate in. So thank you so much. So with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
And we are adjourned.